Hey everyone! One of my longest desired do-yourself projects was something that I've been wanting to do for about 3 years now, but never did it until now. And it is this. This is a boom pole with a Zeppelin or a Blimp microphone enclosure for the shotgun mic, and also a fuzzy windscreen, also known as a dead cat for obvious reasons. These are very, very pricey, if you even from the cheap online shops from China and India on eBay. I really needed this about 2 months ago. I was conducting some outdoor interviews, and there was some wind. Now, I did have my shotgun mic and added a fuzzy windscreen with faux fur, but it was really short hair that fits over the foam one that it came with. And it did cut the noise down quite a lot, but the hair was really too short to really cut things all the way down. I needed to have something that had longer hair for the windscreen material. So when making these, most do-yourselfers basically take a metal mesh bird feeder, and they use them as the main tube or body of the blimp. Actually, another guy I saw on eBay made his own with filter material using flexible wire. He sewed it all together. I was really impressed, but I was never going to go to those kind of lengths to have one of these. But I did look around the local hardware stores for bird feeders, but they either were too small for the size that I needed for my mic, or they would require way too much modification to work. So I decided to wait. So fast forward to last month, I had some extra money to spend from a previous project that I just finished. And I was at Menard's buying some aluminum tubes for my revised jib crane, and thought, well, what the heck, I'll just go over to the pet supply area and see if they have anything. And lo and behold, I found one that would be perfect. It cost $12, and all I needed after that was some hair bands, a small strainer, some faux fur material with longer hair, and then I'd be set. So here's how I put mine together. So here's what it looks like without the dead cat on it. Yeah, I know it looks funky, but it doesn't really matter what it looks like at this stage. So I brought home the bird feeder and took off any parts I would not be using. My wife donated a bunch of unused hair bands for my project as well, as gave me the idea of how to secure them. She is a genius, because I was thinking of using long dowel rods that I would loop the ends of the hairbands through or on and attach that way. But this works just as well, and it was free, because if one breaks or loses its elasticity, using paper clips allows me to replace just that one versus pulling the dowel rod out and having to redo every one of them again, which is actually kind of a pain. I made this little hook out of a paper clip to assist me in pulling the bands through the holes so I could secure them in place. After I did that, I took the strainer, which I got at Walmart, and basically tore the mesh out of the center of the frame and placed it over the end of the bird feeder, and secured it in place with this hose clamp. The ends of the mesh were frayed, and I needed to keep them down, so I used a strip of duct tape to do this. Now, this next step is where there seems to be the most variety of approaches in most of the do-yourself versions that I've seen. It's basically how you secure the blimp to the boom pole. People have used microphone clips that they've epoxied or screwed to the tube. They've bolted the boom pole end directly to the tube in other ways, making basically a straight 45-degree angle, or 90-degree angle, sorry. And I knew I needed something that I wanted to be able to adjust and lock the angle. It took me a while to find something that I was really happy with. I used an L bracket. I'm not sure if you can see that really well, but and twisted it in my vise. I secured it to the tube using these two hose clamps. And this, then I found this thing. This it's called a painter's tool, and I found this at Menard's. You can probably find it at Home Depot or Lowe's as well. It clamps onto a handle of a brush or other tool and allows you to angle it in place so you can use it at the end of a long painter's extension pole. I knew this would be perfect for me, as it even had a bolt that goes through the customary hole in the handle, and I happen to have a hole right here for the L bracket. So not only will it merely clamp to it, but it also will secure it in place with this bolt. And it allows me to adjust the angle as I need. My pole itself is a 12-foot extension pole. It works very well. If I knew any basic soldering, I would create my own XLR cable that runs inside the tube, as many of the professional boom poles do. But alas, I'm just happy just to use the cable ties instead. Okay, so basically what I need now to do is to put the microphone in the tube. I want to make sure that your thing is in place. And for the first few of these, I don't have to do much because it's relatively loose. In fact, that was a little too loose. But just basically kind of do some twisting. Okay, and just kind of go back and forth. That was pretty easy for those ones, but in order to get these to go through, I'm going to have to use my hook and go inside and pull the rubber bands back so I can get this through. And when I'm finally done, it looks like this, where you can see all the way down there, the microphone is now suspended in the air through the hair bands, which are acting as a shock mount. Okay, once you've got it in place in the shock mount, and by the way, you do want to have the cable on, because otherwise, by the time you get it this halfway through, it's going to be hard to manipulate. But once you have this in this place, now it's time to put on the dead cat. Where I found my faux fur was through eBay. Joann Fabrics didn't have the right kind of material I needed, so I had to look online. Now, this auction that you see here is not the same material that I bought, but it's similar. Mine was a little different color, and it also was much less. Mine was $17, and I think I paid like $5 shipping for a yard. But this is pretty good. But anyway, I guess my point is, if you can't find what you need to at your local fabric store, you can always get something online. Okay, how we did the dead cat was I took and put my blimp over some paper, and I drew out a pattern that I wanted, and I cut it out. I put that pattern over the backing of the faux fur material and cut it out as well. Then my wife, who is a fantastic seamstress, sewed the sleeve of the dead cat for me. It took a little bit of time because it's kind of a messy thing trying to work with lots of fur. And then in order to keep it so it would stay secured over the blimp, we added some Velcro. And this I have ready. I just basically slide it in. And make sure the Velcro is there. Tuck that in there. Put that in there. So now I've got room for my microphone cable to come out, and I can attach it to the there, and there it is. And it might, it kind of fluff up the fur a little bit, but that's how you do that. And the microphone cable, you can take and use a cable tie. You want to give yourself enough room so that you can have the angle properly, but otherwise this is pretty much the way you do it. And then you just tie it down the way. And so there it is. Okay, one thing I needed to address was, okay, I'm using my H4N to capture the audio for my boom pole. How exactly do I hold this and hold the boom pole? I could just set it and put it in my pocket, but then I'm running the risk of bumping into things, and I can't easily access any of the controls or whatnot. And when you've got the headphone cable in, it's kind of hard to get into your pocket. So, well, they don't really have a lot of cases for this. I've only seen one, and I didn't really like it because what I needed to do is to be basically hanging upside down like this, because I need to be able to have the cable up, and I also need to be able to quickly grab it and lift it up so I can see what it is that is going on, and I can control and adjust things as needed. So I needed to have something that could be flipped down, hanging upside down, and coming up. And I thought about maybe mounting this to a board and having a strap that comes through here and another one over here to kind of support it. But I found something that was much easier and a very, very cheap solution. And that was this. This is a hammer holder. You loop your belt through this, and you have it onto your side, and you can hang your hammer in there, and it holds it in place. Well, it was a little too wide this way for this to fit down in there and to be tight. So I took some pieces of that non-skid material that I use for the bottom feet of my slider, and I just bent it over. It's self-adhesive, but it doesn't stay in place very long, so I added these little screws. I'm probably going to be putting bolts and with nuts and just kind of keeping it permanent more there, and plus it's not so sharp. But anyway, this fits in here very nicely. Every time that I say that, it doesn't want to do it for me, but there it goes. This fits in there very nicely, and I put a hole in this little small, I think it's like a 1-inch, quarter-inch nut or bolt that fits to the back of the H4N. So now it's mounted there. These things keep it from moving down, so I can in effect hang it upside down, and it's there. It's not going anywhere. The only problem with this is that this leaves these unprotected. But if I'm just hanging it by my side and I'm not really in danger of bumping into anything with it on my side, but if I have it through my belt, I won't be able to pick it up and access the information this way. So I'm making a long shoulder strap that goes over my shoulder and hangs to the side, and then I can see it. So that was a pretty easy solution to something I was kind of mulling over. This little hammer holder was great, and I think it was $2.50 at Menard's. So here it is. Very happy with this design. It looks pretty good, but it even performs even better. I've been outside on a windy day, and cuts down the wind noise a lot, if not all. One time you really can hear the wind is if there's a gust. And I'm talking 40 to 45 miles an hour gusts. You can hear those, but even then, it's not overpowering. It's not like if this was just out in there, out in the open without any kind of protection at all. I love that the shock mount itself works really well, having the hair bands, because now you can't really hear the handling noise. I like how this can be angled and locked down to any angle that you want. Makes it a lot more comfortable in holding. I love that I can be very far away from the talent and still capture their voice with a high quality because of the 12-foot boom pole. So I'm pretty pleased with this project. This probably will be one of my last do-it-yourself videos for a while, at least in building stuff, equipment. I have a lot of work to do to get to on my documentary business, and I'm also going to be scoring some more film work. And mostly likely, any more do-it-yourself videos will probably end up doing more like tutorials on software that I use, like Final Cut Pro 10 or Logic or other related software that I use, so that that'll probably be the direction I take any more how-to videos for a while. Thank you for all of the comments and all of the suggestions and encouragement you've given me. It's really helped me find ways to kind of fix things. I appreciate any of the criticism you can give me as well, because I can always grow. I can always, I'm always open to new ideas for things. So, and at this point, I've actually made all of the equipment that I'm going to need that I use on a regular basis. I have a teleprompter. I've got a jib crane. I've got a slider. I've got, pretty much all the equipment that I use and will use for my documentary business and in any kind of future filmmaking, I have already. So I'm not too worried about being in lack of equipment. So yeah, this will probably be it for a little bit. Thanks again for watching. Keep your suggestions coming and keep your comments coming, because I really appreciate them. Thank you very much. Have a great day.